here we are, and welcome to an extra scratchy-voiced, bassy-voiced, sick-voiced episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. And why is that? Because we are so dedicated to this show that with all of us having fevers...
No, I never had a fever.
Oh, you never had a fever?
I had every other symptom of being sick.
Okay. So all of us had many symptoms of being sick. Lily and I both having had fevers. Becky and I having traveled back and forth to Spain over the weekend. Fasted for the most part on Yom Kippur. We are still going to do the podcast today because we haven't missed an episode in like 300 episodes. And
no, if we haven't missed an episode I have to remind myself, if I haven't missed an episode when I've had a C-section, when I've had kidney surgery, maybe I missed an episode then. This was not enough of an excuse to miss an episode. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, poor baby. You're tired because you had too much fun. Get up and podcast.
Exactly. Get up and podcast, people. And this is an important week because this is our annual Yom Kippur episode. This is our Book of Life episode where we're going to talk about shows or movie series or something pop culture wise we would like to see survive another year. But before that, let's just reflect a little bit on Lily's birthday. We flew to Spain, flew to Canary Islands. We partied for 2 straight days. It was a lot of fun. Mom and Dad were amazing as always. Our North Star of party. Am my voice cutting in and out?
No.
It's straight the whole time?
I think so. Or my brain is cutting in and out at the same moments, and so I don't notice.
Maybe it's possible.
I have to be honest. I am not functioning at 100. I think I'm functioning at like 52% right now.
Okay.
Because it's one thing to come back and be like so tired or jet lagged. It's another to come back and be so tired and jet lagged when you have 2 toddlers and it's Yom Kippur.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think it's going to take me months. I don't think I'll ever be a whole person again after this past weekend. We flew in and we went, so it's an overnight flight.
And we went directly to the first event.
And then continued on till about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. We landed at 9:45. And then
we
the
went
next day
started at about 9:10 and went the same amount of time.
Yeah, I got up at 8:30 the next morning. We basically all got up between 8:30 and 9 and then went straight from then until 4 a.m., 3.
Maybe you did 4 a.m. I didn't make it that far, but pretty late.
3:30 in the morning because I still had to pack after the party. And then we got up at 8 and had breakfast and went to the airport.
Exactly. Now, I just want to break down one highlight. There's too much to talk about, but I want to break down one amazing highlight about this trip, which was that the grand finale was a surprise party at a bar in a park where Lily and Jose frequent, and all their friends were there. It was outdoors, by the way, so it was COVID friendly. Don't
worry, nobody got COVID. Everybody got everything else you could possibly
we have everything
get.
else.
But nobody got COVID. We were really, really safe.
Yeah.
We just have all the other viruses and illnesses.
And so we had been told by Jose that this was going to be an 80s band. So we dressed in 80s
not just
clothes.
Told.
It was an 80s themed party.
I am telling you weeks of conversations between me and Jose about him making sure he was hiring, which is the best 80s band he could hire. And he's talking to one guy from another island and another guy from another. He goes, no. I got the guys from our island. They are the best 80s cover band,
exactly.
that we can get. Yeah.
Exactly. And we're dressed in 80s attire. If anyone's seen our Instagram, I'm wearing a pink suit from head to toe.
Allie's in a literal prom dress from the 80s.
Yeah. We were immaculately dressed. And they did not play an 80s song. I don't remember when they played their first 80s song.
There was I think maybe there was one, but it's unclear if there were any. And so the conclusion that we came to,
right? So they played the 70s and they played the 90s and the 2000s.
The translation that we landed on is that when we say 80s cover band in English, I believe it translates in Spanish as American music.
American music, exactly.
Just American music.
So it's just anything in music English. In English is just 80s in the Canary Islands.
But
can Lily verify that to us?
Listen, to be clear, we are not complaining because we had a rockin' good time.
Rockin' good time.
It was wonderful. You know, I don't need music to be dressed in 80s.
It was great
clothes.
Because we're in this 80s thing. The people, I mean, we came dressed.
And we had a photo call.
We
had a photo call with props that were all like, bring the 80s back, rockin' 80s, like all these like really weird, you know, it's like from Amazon, like all these hilarious 80s props that you were holding, like little sayings about it being the 80s.
And they played, but then we're dressed in 80s and then they played like My Boots Are Made for Walking.
And Daft Punk.
And Daft Punk, exactly. So they like went from My Boots Are Made for Walking to Gonna Stay Up All Night or whatever that song is.
Yeah.
Get Lucky.
Oh, well, Get Lucky. Yeah.
I remember now, the one bona fide 80s song they played, which was great, was I Want to Break Free. That was like an hour and a half into the thing.
That was so good though.
And
that was
Lily led everyone in doing the
Freddie Mercury vacuuming
from the video.
And that,
Lily,
but it was.
Do you want to weigh in
Lily.
On what 80s means in Spain? Do you want to turn on your microphone?
Oh, I don't think your microphone's on, or your voice is that raspy. It's just not even picked up.
Hello. So you couldn't hear anything I said before?
Oh, you sound so much better today.
Yeah.
Do I sound better?
You sound so much better.
I just drank a lot of hot beverage to try and soothe my vocal cords.
Yeah.
It just was coming out like Max Headroom.
We're not hungover.
I'm like near pneumonia. I'm one lung away from pneumonia.
Can you imagine if we drank alcohol on top of that? If the three of us,
I mean, we have
drinkers?
A drink, meaning I had a glass of whiskey over the course of 8 hours of partying.
Right.
It's not like we're not straight edge.
The next morning when I was showering to get ready for the airport, I thought to myself, if in addition I was hungover, I would be curled up on the floor of the shower and someone would have to just carry me to the airplane right now because I'm barely standing. Yeah. So no, we're not straight edge. We drink a little. We each have like a little bit to drink, but we're not.
And we used to drink a lot more. We're not drinkers.
I used up all my drinking in my 20s.
I just have too many conflicting medications keeping me alive. I can't. I can't drink and live.
You know that time you get really drunk where you say, I'm never going to drink again.
Like in Eurotrip.
No. I truly had that moment on my 30th birthday. And I have actually never gotten drunk since. That was it. That was my last time.
I hit a certain point in
I'll never do it again.
I only drink water because I need to live to fight another day. You all ask me, how do you survive so well?
I don't know how you
sleeping. I have some secrets.
He hydrates.
Drink a lot of water. Like the 2000.
Where did you guys hide the notes for this show?
There's no notes.
No, there's no notes.
We're just winging it.
Yeah, well, I wrote my own notes. But also, we need to talk about the ground rules of this episode because I thought it was which shows are we putting in the book of
ground
life?
Rules, Becky. I don't know how
which shows
we're having this episode.
We want to see have another year.
You can do however you want to do it. I am not putting constraints on this episode other than we are here. We are here for each other. We're here for
this episode is a Yom Kippur miracle because
exactly.
I don't know how. I mean, you guys. I think
Friday Night Movie, God willing, made it onto the list as the gates closed.
When I went to the ER for the first time this week, the doctor, as he's shooting like steroids into my butt because I love my lungs are collapsing.
Where Lily lives, that's the first thing they do. They just bend over.
They're just like
firing your shots into your butt.
He's like, which cheek should I do? And I was like, Well, I use them both at the exact same time consistently. So it's not like I'm right-handed, do it in the left cheek. I was like, just give it to me where you want it. And I was like, they're both equally squishy. It was actually pretty painful, this shot. And he was like, I think this is more an emotional bronchitis than
an emotional bronchitis. I have to say,
and I was like, it was
emotional bronchitis.
I was like, dude, you have no idea the weekend I just had. It was so, I can't thank you two enough. I would like to publicly say to our thousands and thousands of listeners, to the world at large,
millions of listeners,
I would like to publicly state that there are no better brother and sister on this planet, but more than that, there are no better best friends than the two of you who went so. Now, I do feel like this became less about me and more about like a reality show competition the two of you had with each other. It was a bit of
a runaway train. I'm not going to
how you couldn't have one up each other on what you could possibly
we were working
do
together.
Yeah, but I don't mean in a bad way, but I definitely think there's a runaway train aspect to what you two pulled off.
We definitely escalate.
And if I'm not there, I'm not the third one there pulling you two back to the reality. Guys, that's too much. Guys, no. And it's just the two of you.
Guys, show me the receipts.
Yeah, the two of you, no receipts.
Really? There are no receipts for this weekend.
No, the two of you just let loose on who can come up with the more crazy, more wild
and
idea.
Then your husband was secretly planning his own weekend in competition with ours. That's the competition.
It was truly spectacular. There's no epic. When people use the word epic, they can now find a new word because epic is only deserved for this weekend. And the amount of effort and planning and organizing and even the little quiet moments that I had to rest on the weekend, you guys were scurrying off doing things, setting up stuff, decorating, planning, schlepping, moving. And I can't thank you enough because you pulled it off flawlessly. I had no idea. The surprise upon surprise, friends visiting that surprised me, a surprise party that surprised me, a surprise concert that surprised me, like surprise
beautiful
dinner, beautiful dinner at my favorite restaurant,
churros, like everything.
And I have to say, there's so many moving parts. You think that eventually some surprise is going to get ruined. Nothing. I was like a newborn baby.
The elaborate web of secrets. The only people who knew almost everything were Becky and me, and maybe Jose. But like Allie got mad at me at one point and said, "What's the schedule for this weekend?" And I just like ignored her. And that's just because we could not share the details.
There are CIA ops that are not run this well. Bravo, the two of you.
There was a lot of secret WhatsApp chats going on.
A lot of secret WhatsApps. Actually, we had to check our WhatsApps. I had to double check when I sent something to someone that I didn't accidentally send it to an email or a WhatsApp chain.
For sure. And you involved a lot of people in this and cross-continental people.
Speaking of people, can we come back to, so your friends came to this party, Mohawks.
They didn't notice the music wasn't 80s. They don't
New tattoos for an 80s party.
Just for the party.
And
wait, someone got a new tattoo?
See you in September.
My friends probably.
See you in September. Highway to Hell, which came out in 1979.
Close. That's close. Come on. It's not like it's Bruno Mars.
No. And sorry, the last song they played was Sweet Child O' Mine into Highway to Hell. So they did get a little 80s there because that's 87.
Yeah.
And Banana, and they played
and
Venus,
I would say to the credit of Lily's friends. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
To give Lily's friends a lot of credit, they brought it. They came dressed up. They came ready to party. People stayed until the bitter end. At the point at which the cops showed up, the restaurant was shutting down, and they were physically pushing us out.
Come on, if the cops don't show up at your 40th birthday party, did you have a party?
At one point, I think Jose had to bring Dad into the back room to deal with the cops.
I just
had to pay.
I think one of my favorite moments is while we were
pay a fine.
I think one of my favorite moments is while we were dancing, one of the waiters comes up to us and he's like, the police are here. And I thought he was going to tell us, all right, we're shutting it down. But instead he just looks around and he was like, okay, just try to dance more quietly.
And the DJ was like trying to play every
I
last
figured
song.
at that point, Lily would have been like,
Really
you got Sting and Stuart Copeland and Andy Summers to reunite for my birthday party?
We could, if we really wanted to.
If you really wanted to, I don't put it past you two, maybe.
But it was pretty great.
I would also like to talk about how during the party, so I'm dressed in this fully pink outfit, my fully pink suit, which I got fresh pink shoes for the event.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I wore it was playing drums for Rachel Leviton. Shout out to Rachel and Jasmine Gilson. And while we were walking back to the hotel at 1 a.m, some other people who were at the bar, these women came over to us while we're on the street corner on the other side of the park, and they say, "Oh, feliz cumpleaños," because they thought it was my birthday party because I was wearing the pink outfit. And I said, "No,
flashy.
es la cumpleaños de mi hermana." And so then they turned directly to Allie and they said, "Feliz cumpleaños." They thought Allie was my sister.
Amazing. Allie brought it. Vlad brought it. Like, Mom and Dad brought it. You guys were...
if you ever question how much Vlad loves you, him getting dressed up in that outfit is 100% proof of his love and dedication for you.
Yeah. That was
He looked good too.
Amazing. I can't wait for the promo for this episode so you can just share all these pictures. He looks great. I mean, neither one of you could be near an open flame
first.
I don't know. It's just you got to throw it up like it is. This is the hangover. The hangover is what we're going to call this episode.
So let's now transition to talk about pop culture. Oh, wait, maybe we should talk a little bit about what we watched on the plane. Becky, what'd you watch on the plane?
I'm trying to remember. Okay.
You watched The Blinded by the Light on the way back.
On the way back, I watched Blinded by the Light.
And I watched it over your shoulder.
I watched Blinded by the Light. I had a music. After I'm done recording, babe. On the way
Rails
back,
are off.
I had on the way back, I had a musical themed return. I watched Blinded by the Light, which is my first time seeing it. It's such a delight. It was such a delight. I highly recommend. I also watched this Netflix movie called I Used to Be Famous, which is about a former pop star who a guy who used to be famous, used to be a pop star, now 20 years later, down and out, trying to recreate himself, remake himself. It's a Netflix movie. It's fiction. Yeah. It's a sweet. I'm gonna have to go on mute. I'll be back.
Sure. What did you watch?
And Allie and I watched. We watched a lot of Only Murders in the Building season 2.
How is that?
I love that show. I'm never that invested in the plot.
I thought you didn't like season 1.
No. I love being in the world with them, but I get sort of get lulled into not being too worried about what the plot is. That's really the issue. But I actually think season 2 is really strong, and it does really great character work and great backstory on the building. I really enjoyed season 2 a lot. The rhythm of the show is really well established.
That Becky was saying, I Used to Be Famous. I really wanted to see that. It looked really cool on Netflix.
Okay, I think she seemed on the fence on it on the.
Oh well, I'll ask her when she comes back because it looks sweet. All right.
It was sweet. It was sweet. I enjoyed. I'd give it a rent. I'd recommend it to people to watch. I think it was like a sweet story. So musical theme. And then after those two, I rewatched Love, Simon because I think it's a perfect plane movie, and it has so much. Good. There's a ton of bleachers in the soundtrack. So I was like, I'm on this like good musical kick. I just want to watch something with music that I love in it. So I just rewatched Love, Simon. And on the way there, I did She-Hulk. I did like real plane movies. I did She-Hulk. I did the Netflix rom-com Wedding Season, which again is like, if you need to fall asleep on a plane, that's a great choice. I'm not sure I would be super into it otherwise, but it was perfect for falling asleep on a plane too. It was, delightful. And then I don't remember because my brain is Swiss cheese. Gotcha. What else do we think I watched?
For sure. What did you watch?
I have no idea.
I only remember now watching Only Murders in the Building. Yeah, that's all I remember right now.
All right, so let's get to it about the book of...
Oh, yeah. I have 9 minutes. We should.
All right, so let's talk the Book of Life. The Book of Life. What pop culture thing do you put in the Book of Life? And just explain your version of the Book of Life. I'll go first.
Okay.
Mine this year, really simply, is She-Hulk. I think She-Hulk is criminally underrated. I think it is an enormous amount of fun. My kids love watching it. They love watching it with me. Let me remind people that I'm not saying superheroes are for kids, but there's a large part of...
Aren't superheroes for kids?
No, I
Literally?
mean, people want them to always be grittier and more horrific and more
like
dark.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's fine for certain elements. And in fact, even if you look at the comic book universe, there are comics that exist in the same universe, and some are more dark and more adult, and some are more fun and light. And that's okay. And She-Hulk does a great job of existing in its correct tone without forcing you to know too much about everything else. You need to know a little bit, but you can follow the show. And Tatiana Maslany is fantastic. So I just want to say I'm all in on She-Hulk. I wish She-Hulk, the character, I don't know if they'll do the show again, but Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk, I'd like to see her more in the MCU. I think she's a megastar. That's my Book of Life pick.
We only get one?
No, I'm just giving you one. I'm giving you time.
Okay, I already wrote some of mine down. So my biggest Book of Life pick, and this is the one where I say when I want it in the Book of Life, I
also think my other one, by the way, is one you guys are going to pick. So that's why I'm waiting.
It means it's one that I want it to be like remembered and sealed off as something great. And yes, and I hope it has many more lives and seasons to it. It's actually a podcast called Normal Gossip, which shout out to my friend Janine.
Please let that into the Book of Life forever.
She's the one that sent that to me. So huge shout out to her. That has been a life-changing podcast. That is pure joy. I can't describe it.
You know, one of the things you atone for on Yom Kippur is gossip, right?
No, but this takes a whole new take to gossip.
It's not Lashon Hara. It's not talking ill of people. It's normal gossip. It's
rechilut.
It's benign stories that no way hurt anyone and no one gets hurt from, that are
sharing them.
They're just sharing stories. And sometimes it could be a little bit of a warning, like, hey, heads up, be careful of such and such situation. But it's really just sharing very quirky, funny
crazy
stories.
Thing that happened to so-and-so.
Like this crazy thing that happened to so-and-so. These quirky, funny stories from people's lives. And they're really specific. They say, we don't do anything dark. We don't do anything hurtful. We don't do anything where someone, is injured or ill. Like it's just supposed to be funny entertainment about the quirky things that happen in people's lives. So huge. That's like my number one Book of Life. And I would say my number two is from the recommendation of our dear friend Brent, Petey, discovering Petey and his album Lean Into Life, because that was my album of the summer that I listened to. And that for me goes in the Book of Life. And in that case, I'm not saying I need a new Petey album every year. I'm just happy with that as my sort of capsule Petey album right now to exist in the Book of Life. And then, so I have those two. Should I keep going or should we like pass it around?
You should pass it around.
Because I've got a lot more, but I could start there.
You should give a TV show or a movie.
No, I have a movie and a TV show if you want. Movie,
let's hear Lily and then we'll come back to you.
Okay, because I have one movie and one TV show if I have to choose just one.
So I feel like there were a few shows this year that, it's weird because I feel like they make it into the Book of Life, but that they're done. Like we maybe just be saying like Kaddish for them next year. Like they're over but they were really good. And so they should be in the pantheon and like remembered. Like I think Ozark, which ended spectacular. I really liked it. I thought that was quite intense. And it's over though. I don't want more of it. It's done, for example. But shows that I assume are making it into the Book of Life because they were so revered this year, and they really brought it. Is The Bear. I want that.
That was my other one.
Oh yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
Thunder. But I know we all agree with that that better get another season. And then I think a show that really redeemed itself, that on season 2 I was not going to fight for it on Yom Kippur of TV shows, but this year completely turned it around and made it even deeper with politics and stuff like that is The Boys. Like that show really renewed itself to me. And
I loved season 2, but I loved season 3 even more.
I liked season 2, but I wasn't like, I was skeptical going into season 3, but I really liked the way they dealt with so many issues in season 3. So I'm excited to see that. So those are my...
All right, cool. All right, Becky, what were your other ones?
I would say, so I'm looking at from last Yom Kippur to this Yom Kippur, right? From when the book sealed last year to when it sealed this year. So for me, my movie,
like end of 2021.
When I'm putting in my movie for the Book of Life is Dune. That's my movie.
Well, you're getting a second
one
half,
because I
right?
want a second one, and that it was so spectacular. So that's my movie, and then. Also, I'm going to put in the category of it. Yes, there was a final season of it this year, but it's also things that I discovered between last Yom Kippur and this Yom Kippur, which was The Expanse. Because I loved that show so much. That show got me through recovering from my surgery. The final season, very satisfying. So I put the Expanse in there. I was trying. I'll let you go. But it has to be. It can't be things.
That's why I said like Ozark. We'll say
it can live on in pop culture fandom and goodness.
Well, because I have other things that ended, but yeah. So, anyways, that'll be my list for now, and we'll see if we have more time. Shai, you should add to the list unless you only had one.
Wait, and do you guys? Can I ask how you guys feel about Severance? Do you want that to be in the Book of Life?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd put Severance in the Book of Life.
That's not a one and done. That could have more seasons. I haven't seen it.
No, it needs to have more seasons.
No,
it
needs to have more
cliffhanger.
seasons.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. But it makes it in for you guys, or
that's
no?
for sure Book of Life for me.
Oh,
okay, yeah. Cool. And then I would say my other one, which I just checked and was renewed, so I'm excited about that, but I hope it really catches on, is American Auto. I think American Auto is
that show's really funny.
Excellent.
That shows. Oh, and of course, big high on my list for Book of Life. I would really like to see more. Shoresy.
Oh yeah, anything in the Letterkenny universe, just keep going.
I love this. Yeah.
Letterkenny universe.
It looks like from Instagram they're filming Letterkenny season Joey. 11, so that looks like it's coming our way. All right, we did it. We managed to band together despite high fevers, international travel, a day of fasting, to talk about the Book of Life. Coming up in a future episode, we'll talk about the movie The Survivor on HBO, which we started watching but haven't gotten all the way through.
I don't know how, I've seen half of it already, and I just don't know how, it wasn't talked about more when this movie came out.
It was released only on HBO, maybe? I don't know. We'll talk about it when we're done, but Ben Foster is incredible in this movie.
Yeah, he's such a great actor. I mean, he's amazing in everything. But...
And John Leguizamo and Sarsgaard.
Every single person in that movie is phenomenal. It's all just top actors. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm almost done. I have like a half hour left.
All right. So Becky, where can people follow you?
At Paper BK Princess on Twitter.
Lily, where can people follow you?
Chichi K Gomez on Twitter.
And you can follow me at Pancake and the number 4 Table. Pancake 4 Table on Twitter and Instagram. Follow all the Friday Night Movie shenanigans at Friday Night Movie. Our theme song is by What Does It Eat? Shana Tova, Gmar Chatima Tova.
All the Tovas.
All the Tovas. Have a wonderful new year. Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye. Bye.